that core of the guard, like we've been working together for a year and a half. And prior to the kickoff tournament, we had a month of practice, and then we had a boot camp in Berlin, and then we had those off-season tournaments. Like I have a lot of data as to like where this is going. G2 is an organization with high expectations, and I place high expectations on myself as well. Given all that, like we felt like um, we had to address two fronts.
Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering VCT Americas Stage 1. I mean, we've kind of gotten to a point in which I've basically talked to a lot of the players slash coaches within the league. So we're now getting into returning guests. And so my returning guest for this occasion is JoshRT, the head coach for G2 Esports. Josh, thank you so much for taking the time once again. I mean, as I said before, congrats on that W against EG 2-0, a pretty dominant showing. As a matter of fact, I mean, how did you view the team's performance overall against the teams such as AG?
Um, I was pleasantly surprised. Part of me thought there was a chance that the new player Icy and Leaf playing on a different role would potentially have some stage jitters, like first time just being on stage. Like there was some doubt in my mind that potentially we would have not been as clean, but fortunately we were. Um, and we were able to handle all the pressure that EG was able to put against us. And I'm surprised and pleasantly surprised and proud of my boys in handling the pressure. It was good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You even mentioned the fact, like in the prelude to the entire match in a tweet of yours on Twitter about how the fact that you guys basically had 2 weeks of practice, with this new roster, with IC in, and with the new roles within the team. For you guys to go from that to this, I know you said that you were already surprised given how it kind of played out, but did you kind of still had like an inkling that maybe the team would be able to put up such a good showing compared to like what it actually was shown?
Yeah, I mean, the main reason why we made this roster change in the first place and the role swap is that it made sense with the role dynamics, team chemistry wise and all that. Like the way everything fits together just makes a lot of sense. So even though we didn't have the longest time to prepare, we crammed a lot in those 2 weeks, and got all the maps down at least to a good enough level. We thought that with our roles set and just playing on the fly in some moments, like the way these guys play off each other, with Icy just going in front, satcheling in and just taking all the space, getting the entry, and Nate Leaf putting the pressure in the back lines, lurking, or even going up from the rear and trade fragging. It's just it's just perfect in terms of the team composition. So um, it makes sense now looking back at our result that like it worked. Um, but like I said, like given that it was 2 weeks, not a lot of time to prepare, like I had that small doubt that there was a chance that it wouldn't work as cleanly, and that it could have went to map three.
You mentioned a little bit about addressing some of the things within those 2 weeks that kind of put you guys in this current position, before and even after this series. If you're able to share, of course, what exactly were those things that you were looking to address first and foremost slash primarily?
So the first thing is just getting Nathan integrated or Leaf integrated as a sentinel. He's going back to a role that he has experience in. Um, if people look back in early Cloud9 in their lock-in tournament, he was playing sentinel alongside with Ye in that roster. So he he's he's such a good player that he can play every role. And the idea behind him going to Sentinel is just to make sure I minimize a little bit more of his deaths. I realize that he's a very aggressive player, and he does create the space. Like he was an excellent duelist for us, but it makes sense for a player like his caliber to have his own pace and timing and being able to trade frag when he's part of the pack. So he's just such an excellent closer in those kind of rounds. So it made sense for me to make that role swap. Um, and then for Icy in all the maps, like we already have our map pool. Like nothing really changed in terms of the continuity of like the strats and the playbooks and all that. Like we already know what to do, and Nate already knew, based on our time together before, that it was simply just moving some pieces around, relearn the role a little bit, relearn the maps, the pathings, and all that, and Icy was easily integrated to our system.
Yeah, and exactly as that you mentioned, I see the newest member of the team coming in for net and just then laying the groundwork for those agent slash role swaps within the team so far in the first split of the season. I mean, Icy just coming in from tier two. I mean, at that point, he was part of the Together We Are Terrific stack before the actual start of challengers. I mean, just getting to know him, I mean, of all of the people that you could have, looked at as a potential candidate to joining this G2 team, for net, what exactly made you want to just contact him, just pick him, and just pick him up for the squad?
Um, I thought he first of all impressed us in the scrims against Trigger. Together we are terrific. Those tier two scrims that all the franchise teams frequently scrim. Um, he's been putting numbers against us, and I've heard he was putting up numbers against other teams as well. We trialed a lot of different duelists um, in that tier two pool of players, given that there's a lot of restrictions, and there's obviously players that we could have uh, wanted, but the transfer windows kind of closed for a lot of these teams. They're already set with their rosters, so I had to take a chance with a guy like IC. Um, and after knowing and learning about him, he honestly deserves a shot. He has the intangibles that I thought could work in the tier one level, and he's honestly such a hard worker. He grinds all the time. He was number two in rank last act. Um, he's just betting on himself to do really well, and I like that. It's part of our like culture and part of our DNA. So having someone like him was an easy choice, honestly.
Oh, for sure, no doubt. And yeah, like from that, I just want to talk about how you've seen his performance in his debut. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of nerves for a given rookie, given the fact that they had to make this transition from like tier two online only play to now stepping in on the studio live crowd. Playing against tier one competition. How did you view his performance? Be it good or bad, from your point of view?
I thought I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I thought he played really well in the first half, and then just the team was rolling. So there were some opportunities that he could have capitalized, but because of how well we were coordinated, like it didn't matter that much. That like I didn't need him to get that multi kill. Um, I think for our future, I think like once he gains that comfort and just gets used to the system that we provide, he'll find those opportunities and capitalize on it. Um, keep in mind that the we only had 2 weeks, like I said. We had to cram a lot of stuff in, so it's a lot of information like into his head, and not a lot of just I guess like comfort in his role completely, even though it's the same role that he's used to. Like he's still learning about us, and we're still learning about him and like how he wants to approach certain scenarios. And that'll come with time, honestly. And yeah, I mean we've also like this is his first time going to the stage. We haven't set up our facility yet, so we haven't played in person actually.
Hmm.
Um, we're actually working from home, just playing online, and there's a lot of obstacles we're overcoming right now. That like I'm proud of our resilience. That like it's just like this is no problem for us really. And so
Yeah,
we'll only yeah
you were going to say something. Sorry.
no that was it. I was closing
Okay.
my thoughts out. But
Okay, okay, I understand that. Yeah, you mentioned a little bit about just, it's not just so much of them, of IC adjusting to you guys, it's also a fact of just you guys adjusting to IC, and also all of the things that we've been talking about so far in this conversation. Given the fact that as everyone knows, this is a pretty tight schedule, pretty quick paced schedule, given the fact that teams only play each other once in the regular season, and then for some additional rounds in the playoffs. And so, How much of a difficulty does that then play in to the teams to G2's preparation slash screaming, um, chemistry building stuff like that amidst a fast paced schedule like this for this year?
Yeah, I'm sure it's definitely gonna be difficult, but it's nothing that like we can't handle, right? So if I didn't think wasn't ready, I wouldn't have picked this guy, right? And same with Nate swapping to the Sentinel role. Like I already knew this was a very it had a very good chance of working out, and he already has most of what I already need. So it's just getting down those details, the finer details, and just I just got to VOD review our match here and get more reps, and then we'll only get better, right? We just need to peak at the right time, especially during playoffs, and make that championship run. So I'm not too pressed, even though it is a short week. Week by week, we'll just get better.
Of course, and I do also want to touch upon real quick about coming off of kickoff and just having to go through from there to now, just having to make that kind of switch possible within the roster and stuff like that. So that said, what do you feel was the biggest takeaways, be it good or bad, from this team in kickoff that you felt now was the time to just make that roster switch, to putting out parting ways with Net, bringing in Icy, and is moving Leaf to a new, well, technically new role.
So what were my takeaways? Like why I thought
Yeah,
this
takeaways
game?
from kickoff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Fortunately, I didn't see enough from the previous roster. Like enough. I didn't have enough confidence in its potential. Like I knew that we can get better and better, but my sights are high. Like I want to get the champs, and I want to get to these Masters events. And I think we could have got there with our previous roster, but I felt like there was a cap in our potential. And what the public doesn't know that like we've been with that core of the guard, like we've been working together for a year and a half. And prior to the kickoff tournament, we had a month of practice, and then we had a boot camp in Berlin, and then we had those off-season tournaments. Like I have a lot of data as to like where this is going. In um, G2 is an organization with high expectations, and I place high expectations on myself as well, and the boys do, right? Like we want to win. So given all that, like we felt like um, we had to we had to address two fronts. Um, maybe like a personnel change to have the roles aligned more, and then a more focus on the fundamentals of the game. Like I thought we couldn't close out some rounds. We weren't playing that type of Valorant that we were known for last year, where it just looks so good. We were just synchronized. There's no disconnects with each other. We all knew what to do in that moment, and we just went for it. There's no hesitation. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's mainly the reasons why we made this change.
yeah. Understandable. One more question before I wrap it up. More so, just looking at the rest of the schedule coming up, facing 100 Thieves, then Furia, Leviathan, MIBR, and then Loud. General thoughts on just the road ahead.
So we got 100 Thieves next. They're currently playing right now, so I don't know how they're doing. But I'm pretty optimistic, and like I place high expectations in them, given that Zix, like I know he's a really good coach. I know Busio can um boost them, pun
Yeah,
intended.
good one.
And
Yep, perfect.
yeah, very similar to Zelsis or Jordan, where he really brings the vibe to the team. And historically, that team is a team that's like kind of chokes under pressure. And so like having someone like that that just alleviates the pressure within the group, have a good environment, just can do wonders for a squad. So definitely not taking them lightly. I know they have a lot of shooters. Um, what's coming up like Furia, MIBR, and
Yeah,
Loud,
Leviathan and Loud.
and Loud. Obviously, Loud's no easy feat. Um, been looking forward to playing them. Like I was hoping we would play them at kickoff. Um, and like we've had scrims with some of these teams. Like, they do look good. So I'm looking forward to playing against them. I'm sure it'll be entertaining.
For sure, and we'll certainly be looking out for more of G2 in the future. JoshRT, thank you so much for taking the time once again for another interview once again, and best of luck goes to you and the team.
Thank you, Pedro.